Hey, it's Jang here from ultimaterc.com, and I'm going to be looking at the ESky Nano. This is a 4-channel, ready-to-fly, kind of low-end helicopter. Costs $50 from xheli.com. They do have them available in 3 different styles of fuselage. You've got the older, really round, kind of wasp-looking front. You've got the longer, more sport, acrobatic sort of RC look, and then this is a scale full fuselage that looks a little bit more like a modern civilian helicopter. There's the helicopter, so you can see its size in relation to me. It does come with 1 full set of extra blades. The LiPo is not installed, it's removable. It is a 320 milliamp hour little LiPo pack. It just slides in from the bottom, like it's pretty typical on especially coaxial helicopters. And then the controller is in this part of a box. 2-stick, pretty standard stuff. And this does use just 4 AA batteries. There's a spring in the right-hand side. There's no spring over on the left, which is of course what you would expect. It has digital trim buttons for both sticks along both axes. And then here we've got the charger, and this is a AA powered charger. You actually put 4 AA's in there, so you can actually take this with you out in the field, or if you've brought your heli in to the office with you or something like that, and you just want to be able to lug this around wherever you go. It's pretty convenient. You can fit it in your pocket. It just uses 4 AA's. You can also hook it up to a DC adapter, but that's not included with this. But what is included is 1 set of 4 AA's. So we're going to go ahead and get some more AA's. I just need 4 more AA's to complete the set and be fully ready to run to power the LiPo charger, get this thing charged up, and give it a test flight.
The first thing that I noticed when I started flying this was that it required a lot of throttle to get it up in the air. I'm talking up in the range of 2/3 throttle. That's way more than I expected. Second thing that I noticed is that it's pretty stable in the air, as expected from a coaxial helicopter. Didn't take very long to get it to a pretty much hands-free hover status. Just a little bit too much throttle right there. The third thing that I noticed once I got it moving was that it suffers from a terrible amount of the dreaded toilet bowl effect. That's that spiral sort of pendulum effect as the flybar fights to try to undo any movement. I've flown a lot of coaxial helicopters in my time, both 3 and 4 channel, and none of them were this bad. Now on controls, the roll control is pretty quick, pretty peppy, but the pitch control is very, very slow and soft. That really added to the difficulty of countering the toilet bowl effect or getting it to just stop doing it altogether. Now I really cannot overstress just how much that toilet bowl effect dominated the flight characteristics of the ESky Nano. In a room of this size, I also tried it in a much larger area, but in this size of area, I really spent almost all of my time either trying to just fight that effect or just going with it and flying around in big circles. As I said, the ESky Nano does not have a lot of pitch response, and as it turns out, its total forward and reverse throw on the swash plate are not very far. As a result, your forward flight speed is not very good. It does yaw just fine, and as I said before, its roll is okay, but it doesn't fly any faster than, let's say, a cheap SEMA 3.5 channel heli that it costs half as much. The only time that you end up flying faster is when you catch the timing just right of the toilet bowl effect, and you pretty much ride the wave like you're surfing with it, and that doesn't last very long. You may notice a couple times you'll see the tail wagging just a little bit. It's from a little bit too much gain on the rudder gyro. Unfortunately, you can't tune that out. After less than 3 minutes, this thing was already out of battery. I also discovered that every time you have any sort of blade strike in a crash landing, this whole assembly that the lower part of the swash plate runs on with the bearing would just slide all the way down, so you'd have to just push that back up. It's not held in place very well. Trying to diagnose the slow flight times, I found that the motors were getting pretty hot, but the battery was not. I did test the battery's total capacity on a charger and it looked good. I just wasn't able to use much of that capacity because the motors were drawing its voltage down too quickly. To try to increase efficiency, I took off the entire fuselage, which is rather large. I also put this zip tie around both motors because I found that the mesh between the pinions and spurs was a little bit on the tight side. There is no actual adjustment for mesh, but by pinching the motors in from the top, it actually spread the shafts apart down at the bottom. The whole long screw with the nut at the end of it is just to maintain balance after taking off that long tail. Now, with these mods and flying pretty much naked like this, I was able to get in the air with a little bit less throttle. I noticed it immediately. It also seemed to fly a little bit better. Dare I say it was a little bit smoother? Still suffered from the toilet bowl effect though. But now my run times were almost 20% greater. Unfortunately, that only amounts to around 30 seconds more. 3.5 minutes is really not a lot of time to be in the air, especially when more than half of it is spent just fighting its natural tendency to fly around in circles. Yeah, no, I do not recommend the ESky Nano. I'm sure the versions that have the smaller, more efficient canopies on them will fly a little bit better than this one did in stock form. And yes, you are paying a small amount to get a 4-channel helicopter, but honestly, you're not getting what you pay for here. You'd be better off spending $50 on a Blade Scout CX, and even though that's a 3-channel helicopter, it flies a lot better than this. It's more agile, it's more fun, it's just better value by far. So thanks very much for watching. Hope that was useful and informative to you. Be sure to stay tuned for more unbiased reviews, as well as projects, how-tos, and more from ultimaterc.com.